welcome back to Saph Reacts, and this is part 7 of my sleep token discussion and analysis series, and this is Are You Really Okay? I'm gonna give a little bit of a warning here because this song is potentially very, very triggering. I'm not smiling because of that. I'm smiling because of my chat because they're lovely. It is potentially very, very triggering. It deals with themes of self-harm. So for anybody that is not in a good place right now, please, please don't hesitate to step away from this particular episode if you need to. Come back to it when you are feeling as though you're able to. Please look after yourselves. First and foremost, that's the most important thing. With that said, we're going to go in. This is Are You Really Okay? Track 7 from Take Me Back to Eden. I do love how this just slows everything down. It's so beautiful.
I raised you in the dark, caught you reading by the sunrise.
I love that imagery.
You wandered from the path through the silence of the hillside. Don't you know I could see it in you even then? And don't you know I was trying to hold back the darkness? And are you really okay? Are you really okay?
I'm just going to touch on something very, very quickly. The fact that he says, I saw it in you even then. That, especially with the next line where he says about holding back the darkness, it's I that line means a lot to me. It really, really does. Because and I think that's all anybody wants is for somebody to see them and see when they're not okay. And that sense of that sense of having somebody that just knows you that completely, that they can just look at you and just be like, you're not all right. I know you're not all right. And I think that's just yeah.
Woke me up one night, dripping crazy.
I'm gonna yeah. Yeah. It does it to me every single time. I've heard that song like this is the eighth, ninth time I've heard it, and every single time. I have tissues, I'm good. And yes, always ask multiple times if someone is okay. Are you really okay? Yes, I'm fine. I am gonna just put these off for a second. Heck. Sorry. This is not waterproof makeup sleep token. I'm billing you. I don't. Ratto, don't. I'm crying enough as it is. Okay. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're fine. Questioning my sanity. Yeah, sleep token will do that to you. Um, I'm gonna read your comment actually, Ratto. More than anything, so I'm gonna try and read your comment. More than anything, sometimes we need a hand to pull us up from the darkness, because sometimes just asking only makes us remember what we want to forget or move on from. I've listened to this song at least 7 times. This is the first time you've met. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that because of the song or because of me? Insert fart joke here. Thanks, honey. Love you. Okay. Oh, all right. Right. Glasses go back on so I can actually see. Okay. Deep breath, and we go into the analysis. Which honestly, I think it's one of those songs that it feels very very obvious at first, and then you kind of look at it a little bit more, and um, it's not too many feels. Yes, I want you. Oh, kitty kitty. Give him a cuddle if he'll let you. Obviously, don't. If he's gonna struggle, don't. But okay. So, like at first glance, powering through. At first glance, are you really okay? Seems pretty obvious. It's about him asking the person he loves if they're really truly okay. He's concerned that they're struggling with thoughts of hurting themselves, begs for them to not do that anymore. It's a very sweet, simple, and emotive song that on the first few listens seems to be filled with his love, care, and compassion for this other person, wishing fervently that they're okay. You can feel his need for them to be okay, even as he acknowledges he can't help them, he can't fix them, but he just wants them to not give up. Or give in to that darkness that he can see in them and has seen in them for a long time. However, when you look further at this song and look at it in context with the previous tracks, it becomes a little deeper. And I feel it could be connected with Granite from earlier on in the album. It stops being this very sweet song filled with compassion that we had at face value, takes on a slightly bitter tone. Looking at it from this perspective, it feels like the reason these two people were originally brought together, that bond that is referenced earlier on in the album, is one of shared pain and trauma. Now, if you remember a few songs ago, I talked about trauma bonding and said keep that in mind. This is why. Essentially, a trauma bond relationship whereby he's just held captive within it. He can't escape because now he's lost his sense of self to this person, and he feels as though he's got no life beyond what they control. His entire definition of self is now utterly dependent on this almost pathological bond he's got with them. He needs this person to be okay, because if they're not, he's failed at his duty as their guardian. He's failed at turning those stone walls to gold to make them happy and fulfilled. The other person now sinks into this low depressive mood whereby they seek to cause harm to themselves as another way of keeping him with them. He can't leave if they're showing signs of being in pain or in crisis. Trauma bonding is known as a form of abuse. It involves a cycle of emotional addiction where you keep returning to that person in the hopes that their behavior will change and get better. You believe you can eventually change them and make them love you the way you want them to. And it's such a powerful, euphoric feeling that your rational brain is aware of just how dysfunctional it is. But you feel powerless to leave, as though you can't, because you formed this connection via the reenactment of past shared trauma. And it feels like you've met your soulmate because of it. It starts with this undeniable chemistry, a deep sexual and physical attraction, which is evidenced in Chokehold and The Summoning. The relationship cycles through extreme highs and lows, giving him that rush of dopamine, but taking it away again, Granite and Aquaresia. Important conversations are avoided because the other person doesn't want that balance to tip in the favor of the other person, Granite. And the whole relationship feels like an addiction you can't quit, Ascensionism, and also Vor to an extent. This is what I mean when I say, for me, it takes on a much more bitter tone the more you look at it. Is the other person using very dark, manipulative tactics to keep him from leaving because they're getting something out of him? He's fueling them somehow. If you look at this alongside Granite, where he mentions the death threats and the fact that they'd rather be 6 feet under but together in this dysfunction than separated and lonely, it begins to feel as though the other person is using these death threats, read harm against themselves, as another method to keep him from leaving. And while he knows that, he feels stuck. He can't leave while there's that threat of harm, because he would feel responsible if the other person actually did something. So he is begging them to keep themselves safe. There is another theory actually that I came across while looking into this song, that I found via Reddit, and I really wish I'd saved the link, but I didn't. And it's one that I think bears mentioning briefly, and that is that the song is potentially from the point of view of somebody outside of this relationship, seeing that he's falling back into old habits from his past because of the way the other person is treating him. This outside person, potentially a parent, says that he was raised in darkness, which leads us back to a song from Sundowning, Dark Signs, where I was raised, there were no street lights. They could see that in him back then and try to hold back that darkness, but they couldn't fix him then. And they don't know how to help him now in this current situation. This to me says that he was brought up with dysfunction and trauma and doesn't know anything else. So he seeks out these familiar cycles and situations because it's all he knows. And he doesn't think he deserves to learn how to be free of that and be his own person. And again, this speaks of cycles and how it's difficult to escape certain situations where you feel that you're closely tied or bound to another person, that you would do anything to help them, even if it means sacrificing yourself to do so. I will come back to my chat because I think people are actually saying something very, very important here. What if he's actually not asking his partner? What if he's actually asking himself? That is something I had considered actually, Ratto, and I think that's a very, very good point. Or even the listeners as monsters saying artists famously like to talk to their listeners in their songs. Absolutely. Um, I've been in a toxic relationship before, so I can kind of relate to that way of viewing it. The worst part is that he might not even realize he's asking himself because he's pulled back by the shackles of that false sense of security. Yeah. I actually really love that idea, Ratto, and I think that's definitely something that would bear looking at as well. Um, it's actually not a connection that I had made, so thank you for making it. I think that's quite wonderful actually. Um, I I like the fact that he might be kind of maybe looking at himself in the mirror and just saying, "You all right? What's going on up here? Like, what are you doing?" And I think that's an important conversation that people should have with themselves. I think ask themselves, "Are you okay?" No, I'm not. Why are you not okay? What can you do for yourself to make things better, to make things okay? I think that's I think that's a very, very good point, a very, very valid point, Rato. Thank you for bringing that. Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it. Um, I think that's probably going to be it from my analysis. Before I start crying again. But I mirror reflection might be smiling while he's crying. Yes, but no, Rato, I actually think that's a very, very good point. Your your reflection, I think maybe the reflection is actually the real him, and the and maybe the reflection is the one that's saying, "Hey, are you okay?" And his outer persona is the one that's happy and smiling and everything's fine, everything's great, everything's wonderful. I'm so in love with this person. I'm so fine with this situation. But the real him, the him that's behind the mirror, the reflection is kind of going, "Dude, you're not okay. I'm not okay." It's yeah. Um that's going to be it for Are You Really Okay? And I love that it ended on I love that this segment has actually ended on a happy note, despite the fact that the song is very, very sad and very, very emotive. Um, I love that we've kind of ended with with a bit of love. I think that's very important. So the next episode will be oh, the next episode will be The Apparition. Prepare for the feels, everybody. Prepare for the feels. I will see you all in the next one. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. Take care.